lucid dreaming. So in the next 1 hour, I will deliver teachings in lucid dreaming from two different avenues. The you could call Western scientific approach and the Tibetan Dream Yoga approach. And the reason that I'm going to present both of these is because different people will vibe differently with them, and everybody's different, and to give a lot of options is to really give freedom. So I will use this outline. I'll put it in the chat again for those who have just arrived, and I will do that several times because I'm expecting more folks to straggle in. And this is, I will follow this pretty much. So it goes through a basic introduction. What is lucid dreaming? Why would we do it? How does sleep work? What are the healing benefits of it? Then I'm going to talk about these two paradigms of, the Western scientific approach to lucid dreaming and Tibetan Dream Yoga. And this chart, I'm not going to go through the ins and outs of this, but it is very, very interesting. The goals, for example, lucid dreamers want to have wonderful, beautiful, unusual experiences. It's not that Tibetan dream yogis don't, but their ultimate goal is to be able to navigate the dying state, because they believe that the dream state and the dying state bear a lot of similarities, and that by being a yogi in the dream state, you will be able to negotiate the dying state to secure a fortuitous rebirth. So that is a really, for many of us, that feels like a very exotic belief, but that is the purpose of Tibetan Dream Yoga. So really very profoundly spiritual. The purposes have drastic differences. We'll go over the waking state practices and how to induce the lucid dreams. And then here's some mention of the therapeutic applications. It has been studied a little bit. The reason it has not been studied very much, I believe, is because lucid dreaming is a practice that you actually have to commit to. So it's more, I guess you could say, difficult than just taking a pill. But it has shown some efficacy for treating PTSD. And I certainly think, from my personal experience, one of the most beautiful and healing practices there is. Meanwhile, great Tibetan Dream Yoga master Namkhai Norbu says any practice conducted in the dream state is 9 times as effective. Actually, paraphrased there and wrote many times, but he specifically says 9 times more effective. So the belief is that by practicing in the dream, you draw out really, really powerful healing and spiritual benefits. So we'll go through then. Most of this hour will be spent really teaching how to do it. So my goal is to really set you up to be able to undertake a lucid dream practice fully after this presentation. That's the number one goal, is to have you actually be able to do it. This chart here is of advanced practices. You see here, I'm not going to go over a lot of these because they're advanced and it would take many workshops to cover that material. But again, my goal is to be able to empower you to actually do this beautiful, mysterious thing of becoming aware in your dreams. I plan to go about an hour. I am mindful of folks' time. It's Wednesday evening. These teachings will be dense with information. If you find the PDF is not going to be sufficient, it might be a good idea to jot things down. I will pause periodically to take questions after we have done some of the practices together. Other than that, you can always put questions in the chat. You can raise the Zoom hand during the question sessions, but I might defer that until the periods where I will address questions, just in the interest of the flow of things. And then at the end of the approximate hour, I will linger for as long as you want to stay and talk about lucid dreaming, and ask personal questions. So everybody's different. So some of these practices you may say, well, that one's going to be very doable for me. This one's going to be hard to do given the structure of my day and night. Do you have a workaround? So a lot of it could be to try to personalize the practices like that. And you can also share, we've had some wonderful contributions made by people who attend these workshops and have incredible practices that they do that in some cases I have not heard about. And then you not only give me the opportunity to learn from you, but also share with everybody else. Everybody's different, and the world of dreaming is a very diverse and mysterious one. All right, so let's begin. So what is lucid dreaming? So lucid dreaming, probably most of you know, is becoming aware in the dream. So technically, if you're in the dream and you're like, oh my God, this is a dream, that's a lucid dream, almost like definitionally. Now, these practices are geared toward really being able to conduct healing and spiritual practices. It's a little bit more difficult, involved than simply becoming aware in the dream that you're dreaming. But in general, that's a first step. So even in the Tibetan Dream Yoga, that, as I mentioned, has these profound spiritual goals, still the first step of the practitioner is to become aware, become lucid in the dream. So we spend approximately 20% of the night in the dream state, maybe more. It used to be believed that the dream was associated only with REM, rapid eye movement sleep, that phase of sleep. Now it's realized that dreams happen in stage 2 sleep and potentially even in deep sleep. So we're spending, a non-negligible portion of our lives in the dream. And generally, as you probably know, some people have real capacities in this area, but many people don't remember their dreams generally. So you'll see that a big focus of this practice is learning how to remember your dreams. Because you may be having lucid dreams all the time, but not knowing it because you wake up and the dream evaporates very quickly. So first step, even before becoming aware in the dream, is having enough of a relationship with your dreams that you can remember them with some consistency. So that's the real call to this practice, is we have a huge amount of our experience in life. And you may say, well, it's just a dream, but what does that mean anyway? And if you are working with psychedelics, this group is Psychedelic Yoga for healing, for spiritual growth, then the dream is of great interest because the dream is really the ultimate psychedelic state. It's the ultimate non-ordinary state of consciousness that happens in a healthy, organic way every night, practically. Doesn't require substances, no hangover, no crash. And it is really beyond, I say this as a big fan of psychedelics for healing and spiritual growth. It is beyond anything. I mean, you could have gorgeous mushroom experiences where everything is fringed in color and seems very meaningful. You can have DMT experiences where you really feel like you're in a different world. But the dream is a fully immersive reality that you can actually work inside, that is created by your own mind, maybe. So really, if you have no interest in psychedelics, lucid dreaming is a wonderful practice. And if you are engaged with psychedelics for healing, lucid dreaming is a tremendous ally to add to the mix. So that's the introduction and pitch. Let's get into how to actually do it. And again, for the latecomers, I'll paste this in the chat one more time. I'm informed by two major traditions. One is the scientific inflected lucid dreaming, as it's called, pioneered by people like Stephen LaBerge. Highly recommend his book, Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming. It's on that PDF. Very, very readable, very rigorous, and appealing to the Western mind that likes systems and procedures. He was a sleep researcher at Stanford for a while. And also the Tibetan Dream Yoga, which in some ways is very similar, in some ways very different, that was put together by countless practicing yogis over centuries in order to, as I said, to do very, very profound spiritual things. So these teachings that you're about to receive draw on both of those strands of knowledge. So first thing first. And really, first thing first is you have to remember your dreams. So LaBerge makes a great point of this, his book about lucid dreaming, is you got to get your dream recall working before you really are going to have a meaningful lucid dream practice. The Tibetan dream yogis tend not to emphasize it, and I believe that is because they have almost universal recall. So I believe that the lack of dream recall out here in most of you are probably in the US. I am in Brooklyn, and the general universal lack of dream recall, I think, is a cultural thing. I think it has to do with a mind and a way of life that is very focused on reality and the executive functioning, getting through the day of the to-do list of the day, and very cluttered mind. And that mind tends to force the dream out right upon awakening in the morning. So that's a good thing to keep in mind, is that in a sense, when you take this practice and you want to do it well, it involves withdrawing in important ways from certain trends that are, you could say, afflicting us in this hyperactive modern society. So the recommendation that is extremely strong here, and I'm borrowing this right from LaBerge, and again, the Tibetans don't emphasize this because I don't think they have any problem remembering the dreams, is the dream journal. So highly, highly recommended is get yourself a dream journal. It doesn't have to be a fancy book like this, but it is quite important that it means something to you. So this practice is more anything that deserves the name yoga is not just about some trivial skill. It's not just about like, oh, I'm going to become aware in the dreams and fly or have whatever adventures you're planning on having. It's like it is about bettering yourself as a human being and particularly knowing yourself more deeply as a embodied and spiritual being. So with that in mind, the dream journal is to be something that you really care about and can get behind. So, and think about what that means. Do you have just the book? You're like, oh, there's that writing notebook that was gifted to me many years ago and I've never used. But the friend who gave it to me means something to me, and I think I can make that meaningful. Or is it going to be something that you grab a regular old notebook and you do some very important drawings and symbols in it to make it meaningful to you? So the most important thing about the whole dream practice, but especially the dream journal, is that it have that sense of meaning, sacredness, if you like, sense of connection. So I strongly recommend that when you take your dream journal and put it by the bed, that you don't just fling the notebook onto the bedside table, but that you spend a moment really saying to yourself, this is my dream journal. May I interact with this journal in the morning? May I write in this dream journal? And some people find it useful before the night to make a wish or an intention and write it down. Engaging the hand does something to the brain. So you use this not just as something to write in. Ooh, the green screen takes it out there. But something very profoundly meaningful to you, not to anybody else. It doesn't have to get anybody else's approval. It's to be meaningful to you. Okay. Put it by the bedside table with that sense of meaning. You notice I keep miming the heart center. We're going to do some practices a little later on. We talk about cultivating the lucid dream at night that involve awareness in the parts of the body and also the breath. Okay, this is yoga. So a good suggestion here is not just to hold the dream journal against you, but really feel that awareness in the heart center. Take a deep breath. And then as you're exhaling and just letting go, to let the motivation, the intention really sink into your body. In general, the more you recognize that things like motivation are yours and they're in your body and on your breath and they don't have to always depend on things in the external world lining up your way, the more empowered you are. So you put this dream journal by the bed, okay, and then this sounds very simple, but it's incredibly important, is you write in it every morning. You write in it. And I know what pops up into your head, some of you, because there's a huge spectrum, by the way, of innate talent, you could say, for lucid dreaming. Okay? Okay? There are some people that are going to have a harder time. There are other people in this room, the Zoom room, who are already doing it all the time. Maybe after the teaching is over, you can share some of your experiences. I will tell you that I am about average. So when I began the practice, I had very little. I remember maybe one dream a month. But I practiced hard and with real earnestness. And by the time I practiced dream yoga for about 2 years, and by the time that I was at the peak of my practice, I was lucid dreaming almost every night, recording 3, 4, 5 meaningful, beautiful dreams, sometimes harrowing dreams every day. So it can be done with practice, but there's a range of capacities. So if it popped into your head, when I said, make sure to write don't just put the dream journal, so you make this intention. You don't say, may I record 15 lucid dreams in this dream journal tonight? That's setting yourself up for failure in most cases. You say, may I write in this dream journal in the morning? And you really feel that intention, because guess what? You're going to do it. And then when you do it in the morning, you create this neurological circuit that says, oh, I do what I intend to do. When I make intentions, I carry them out. So it's very important that you carry out that intention and write in the dream journal in the morning. Okay. And if what popped in your head was, what if I don't remember a dream? Great. Don't worry about it. Just write, get that muscle memory going. Write, and when you wake up in the morning, write down the first things that come into your mind. This is a great creative exercise too. Like the color of blue. I don't know why, but it just feels like it's there. You know, my uncle that I haven't seen in many years. I don't know why, but he just like feels like there's something there. So do that. Just free associate some words, impressions, and feelings, and let those be your first dream journal entries. Eventually, if you go to bed at night with that sense of meaning and connection, localizing the feeling in the heart center, maybe with a deep breath, put the dream journal down with a ceremonial air, and then engage with it in the morning. Eventually, that will lead to recalling the dreams. I'll give one more tip about recalling the dreams while we're at it, because I mentioned the perhaps cultural aspect of like nobody remembering their dreams, very few people remembering dreams, whereas I think the Tibetans are remembering their dreams all the time. In certain cultures where dreams are very important, the dream recall is almost universal. So with that in mind, try to structure your morning, not your entire 2-hour morning routine, but like the first 10 minutes, let's say, is not only engaging with the dream journal, but even before that, is try to really stay present, stay relaxed, try to avoid the bright lights, definitely try to avoid the day to-do list. So this may take some practice, because you may have gotten into the maybe neurotic habit of like morning day to-do list, and then the evening day regrets and worries. And then that's no way to live, but that's the way a lot of us are caught up, because that's the culture. So it may be a good idea Tenzin Wangyal, who's my main influence in Tibetan Dream Yoga, emphasizes creating your sacred space in your bedroom. So this is an extension of what I was saying about the Dream Journal. Dream Journal wants to be very meaningful, personally connected. And if your bedroom, if you can take any kind of measures, keep the lights a little bit low, keep the screens away at night and early in the morning, and have the night ritual have a sense of sacredness and meaning and mystery and discovery and whatever is going to do it for you. And then in the morning, try to keep things calm, embodied, relaxed, before you just dive into your day. And allow maybe a few deep breaths as you're just lying there in bed, staying still before you even reach for the dream journal to record in it. Okay. So hold your questions on that. If you have anything, you can enter it in the chat now, and I will get back to it. But anything you've got on your mind, I will pause for questions at some point, and you can ask questions about the dream journaling process. So here's the next beat. We're doing well on time here. So very efficient. I know I have enormous amounts of teaching experience. I've been a classroom teacher for 35 years, and I know that I can fry people's attention span if I keep them for 2 hours. So I really aim to wrap this up in, 35 minutes, 35 remaining minutes. So the second thing you do after you have been dream journaling, we're going to call these the waking state practices. So practices of the daytime. Okay, and that's distinct from what we'll get to in a moment, which is practices for the night. So the daytime practices, I'm going to give two offers here, and one is the LaBerge lucid dreaming method, and the other is Tenzin Wangyal's foundational practices of dream yoga. And I'm going to teach both of them. So the first thing you'll do if you're practicing with LaBerge's methodology is you will collect dreams in your dream journal for several weeks before even worrying about lucid dreaming. So you're getting to know your dreams. You have maybe a dozen entries of dreams you've written down, okay? And eventually you're going to keep doing it, so they'll accumulate more and more. And you start to learn what your dreams are like, okay? And you start to extract dream signs. And the dream signs are nothing more than things or aspects, emotions, actions, whatever, that occur a lot in your dreams. So I'll give you some examples of mine. So I collected something like 1,000 dreams in dream journals over several years, right? So I really know what are like the common themes in my dreams. The moon is a very common, I'm sure that a dream interpreter would say a symbolic thing, but the moon is very common in my dreams. Bicycles, okay, that's an easy one to psychoanalyze. I grew up in the suburbs, biking around a lot. So, and dreams, no surprise, take you back to earlier stages in your life. Another beautiful thing about the dream practice, as an aside, is one of the terribly disempowering aspects of a modern ego is thinking that you're only you in your present incarnation, rather than you as the collected experiences going all the way back to childhood. And you are all those things simultaneously. It's just that life, with its reinforcing of your particular current phase identity, doesn't allow you to be a child, a teenager, a baby. So the dream doesn't have any constraints like that. So the dream might bring you way back in time. So for me, the bicycle as a dream sign is like, oh yeah, I bike a lot. So moon, bicycles, elevators. Okay, I notice a lot of elevators in my dreams, not particularly with anxiety. Maybe I was fascinated by elevators as a kid. I don't remember. So take those three examples. So let's say you're me and you've been dream journaling for a few weeks and you've identified some dream signs. So, in my case, elevator, moon, bicycles for you would be different. Okay. And then now you're going to practice lucid dreaming. It's daytime practice. You're going to start your day. This is after you dream journal and have your coffee and your breakfast. You're about to get to work or whatever you're going to do, your daily thing. and sit down for a moment and make a strong resolution, okay, to hit those dream signs. So what that means is I'm sitting there like I have my coffee, I wrote my dream journal, I have my coffee, took the dog out, I did whatever I'm gonna do, and I'm about to go to work, and I sit down for just a moment. It just takes really like a minute, and you say, okay, when I encounter the moon, bicycle, elevator in the course of the day, I'm going to be very aware that that's my dream sign. Okay. And in LaBerge's practice, you are at that point when I see the moon, or I step in an elevator, or I encounter a bicycle. At that point, I'm going to do what he calls a critical state test, which is basically I'm going to prove that I'm awake to myself. Okay. I will be perfectly honest with you. There's a wonderful technique. I never found it necessary. Any time that in a dream I noticed the dream sign, I knew I was dreaming. So, but if you want to practice that way, so you identify it. So now I'm going through my day, I'm walking to work. Oh, a bicycle. Oh, that's my dream sign. And I don't just say, there's my dream sign. This is going to be something you'll hear me emphasizing. You really want to feel it. If the heart center is where you really feel things, I would take your dream sign in and have a moment and take a deep breath and hold that awareness here. And then if you want to practice the way LaBerge practices, you do some kind of critical state test to prove that you're awake, which could be looking at your hands. That's a common one. It could be reading text on like a billboard or a signage, because in the dream state, often text is scrambled. Some people do goofy things like jump up to test gravity. In the movie Waking Life, they turn lights on and off because apparently in the dream you don't see a change in brightness when you turn off the lights. So whatever, you do your quick test if you want to. I don't really think it's necessary. I think what's necessary is to notice the dream sign during your waking day. So then I'm at work later on, get in the elevator. Oh, elevator, dream sign. Localize the feeling, take a deep breath, become hyper aware of your state. So if you decide not to do the critical state test, then just become aware. Oh, okay, I'm awake. I'm in an elevator. This is my dream sign. Okay. If you want to do the critical state test, it's to be like, okay, I'm in an elevator. All right, let's look at some text. Let's look at my phone, some text. Okay, I can read the text. I'm awake. If that appeals to you. Okay. But the point is, you make the resolution, the felt resolution in the morning to pursue those dream signs throughout the day. And then when you encounter them, really connect your awareness, your physical body, your breath to that moment. Okay? And the theory is very plain to see, because if you practice this way for a day, 2 days, 3 days a week, and you're going through and just now and again, you're noticing your dream signs, then that mental habit, which is what you're building, will occur in the night dream. Because that's what the night dream is. It's a rehashing and melding and stuff, all the mental habits from the day. So you've built this new habit of, oh, every time I see the moon, oh, every time I step in an elevator, every time if it's the color red, oh, I see a red light or something. And you've been developing that mental habit in your waking state practice. Eventually, and probably soon, it will emerge in the night dream. And at that point, you go walking in the night dream, in a normal non-lucid dream where you maybe report on it later, but you're like an automaton, and you're walking through the dream and you're like, oh, bicycle. Wait, this is an actual dream. And then you're lucid in the dream. And for those of you who have not had that experience, I can just say it is an incredible experience. It feels physically amazing for some reason, even though it's a dream body. For me, it's like it's a grounding, elated feeling, a feeling of incredible freedom. Really something to look forward to. So that's an easy way to practice in the daytime using the fruits of your dream journaling. Okay? Now, here's the similar practice, that you could say the parallel practice in Tibetan Dream Yoga that is to be done in the waking state. Okay, so this practice is even simpler. And it doesn't refer to the dream journal. You still want a dream journal because you want to build your recall. If you already have kick-ass recall, then maybe you don't need the dream journal, but most people don't. So you're building your recall with the dream journal, that sense of sacredness and connection to your own dreams. And then you go, this is what, if you want to practice Tibetan Dream Yoga, I don't recommend doing it 24/7. Set aside like 10 or 15 minutes and walk through the park or whatever. And you just, with everything your eyes land on, this is a dream. So let's say I'm walking in the park on my lunch break. That tree is a dream. Okay. That bird is a dream. That garbage can is a dream. Those people are a dream. Okay. And you know that it's not a night dream. So in a philosophical way, because this practice is very close to Buddhism, you are reflecting on the changing and transient nature of everything passing, everything dying. So this is a very spiritual practice in and of itself. You're not actually thinking that in your waking state practice that tree is a dream, but you say it with that same "this is a dream," meaning I understand this is all going, and it's very, very important. Just like I emphasized with Stephen LaBerge's practice of the critical state test, is that you really feel it. If you just go through and you're like, this is a dream, this is a dream, this is a dream, this is a dream, it's not going to build a mental habit. Mental habits get built, for better and for worse, through emotional connection. So when you say, that street light is a dream, you take a deep breath. I would feel it like in the heart center if that feels right to you. And then as you let go of the breath, let go of the dream, let go of, even the lamppost made out of forged iron is eventually going to go. So it's a very profound spiritual relationship with the world. Okay. And again, it sets up a mental habit, a new and healthy mental habit that then will occur in the night dream. So then you'll be in the night dream. Because you've been practicing Tibetan Dream Yoga, the foundational practices, you'll be walking through your night dream and you'll be like, oh, that car is a dream. Whoa, and you will recognize it's a real dream. It's very unusual, believe it or not, that you would say, just do the same thing. That car is a dream and think nothing of it. Usually, if you practice with feeling, if when you're practicing in the daytime, you're like, that car is a dream, and you don't just say it as words. If you just say it as words, it's useless. If you say it and really feel it and kind of like touch in with reality, like just like become aware of your state, then that will happen in the dream, the night dream, and you'll be like, that car is a dream. Whoa, and then you realize you're in a dream. And then it's a lucid dream by definition, but a really, really good one. These lucid dreams that are attained that way have the real potential to be absolutely profound. So that is what I'll call the waking state practices section. And I'm now 2/3 of the way through the main teaching, 23 minutes left until 9 o'clock. I will pause. I will take any questions anybody has at that point. So you can write down in the chat at any point if you want to now. And then when I open the floor to questions, you could also raise the Zoom hand and we'll talk through audio. Okay. So now the practice of the night. Practice of the night. So two things, okay, that are very, very useful, and you don't have to do both of them. I strongly recommend to pass on Tenzin Wangyal's teaching that you try to create a sense of real specialness of the night. I mean, his metaphors are killer. He's like, even the dog prepares for sleep. You see it circle the dog bed, whatever. He says the modern human, like you wash your face, you take care of your face, you brush your teeth, you take care of your teeth. But there's no taking care, there's no sense that even you could do such a thing as take care of the mind. So that's the thing to keep in mind is if you have it in you to get the screens away, get the lights low, maybe even do a little seated meditation. Both of these things that I'm gonna teach right now are bedtime practices, basically. And yeah, they've been practiced by dream yogis and lucid dreamers, but really it could almost be anything that brings you into a sense of yourself, a sense of connection with your body, a sense of a spiritual sense of yourself going into the night, going into sleep. And by the way, these practices will all improve sleep quality. I mean, even if you never have a single lucid dream and you do all these practices of like becoming more aware in the waking state and these bedtime practices, it's just it's yoga. So basically it's gonna provide benefits in terms of relaxation and better sleep quality. So in the traditional dream yoga, they call for several awakenings in the middle of the night, and I am not teaching that. If it were a very, very practiced audience that had a lot of hours to sleep, I might. But for most people these days, we need the sleep. Sleep is precious. One thing I didn't mention is that REM, rapid eye movement sleep, the phase of sleep that is most associated with vivid, well-remembered dreams and lucid dreams, REM, tends to increase throughout the night. The longest phases of REM are toward the end of the night or the early morning. So if your sleep is too short, if you're only sleeping 3 or 4 hours a night, you're probably not actually getting very much REM. So it is very important to protect the overall integrity of sleep and not over practice so you disrupt it. So here are the nighttime practices, okay? Number one, retrospective memory practice. Okay? So just as there was a form of memory engaged with the waking state practice of the critical state test, like, oh, I'm going to remember, you sit down in the morning, I'm going to remember that when I see an elevator, because that's one of my dream signs, I'm going to become aware, or when I see a person with a hat, maybe that's one of your dream signs. You make that strong resolution in the morning. I'm going to remember that when I see people with hats, I'm going to just pause and be like, okay, I'm practicing lucid dreaming now, something like that. That kind of memory, which is an intention to remember something that you expect to encounter in the future, is called prospective memory. So prospective memory is very important in catching the dream signs of doing that practice. Retrospective memory, to be done before bed, is remembering the past. So strong recommendation, get very relaxed, do some deep breathing, do some body awareness. The next practice we're going to do, you could do that too, and get yourself very relaxed, get the lights low. I recommend doing this in a seated position because if you lie down, you might fall asleep and not do the practice. So some comfortable meditative seat, and then go through your day. Go through the whole day. Two ways to do it. Don't spend more than 10 minutes or something, but two ways to do it. One is you could go through the day, really starting with the morning and and don't be like naming stuff. Then I did this, then I did this, then I did this. Again, flat language-based stuff is useless. You want to get inside the memory. It's called episodic memory. You want to really feel, okay, there I'm at breakfast. Oh, there my dog did that cute thing, and I remember smiling. And then I went to work, and then you are free to skip around. I would progress linearly through the day, but you can be like, okay, my morning routine. Oh, that thing at work, which was stressful because my boss came in and was in a shitty mood and insulted someone, and I felt the stress. Try to really get inside the memory. Okay, as you breathe, heart center awareness, and then say, this memory is a dream. So this is the dream yoga practice. So that's this memory of the meeting with the boss and all my coworkers is a dream. And you're not just saying it, you're really kind of feeling it inside that memory. So play with your retrospective memory for like 10 minutes. And even though the memory is not a muscle, there is something muscle-like in the way that practicing with the retrospective memory will improve the dream memory. This I have found through personal experience. Is you spend 10 minutes at night before bed, just going through the whole day, and it can be really wild how much you do remember. And you get inside those memories, and maybe you feel some of the feelings, even the uncomfortable ones, and reiterating, this is a dream, letting it go, using the breath to let it go. It will improve the dream memory and the likelihood of becoming aware in the dream. So here is the final nighttime practice. And this one, let's practice together right in real time. Okay, so I invite you to take a comfortable seat. And this is the practice. It's about awareness in the body in 3 particular locations. So wherever you are in your breath, exhale fully. Inhale deeply from the belly. See if you can let the belly swell like a balloon. And then exhale and just let go. Just really let the breath go. This is, by the way, a great way to fall asleep. It's just let the breath go. Okay, inhale from the belly. Exhale, just let the breath go. Okay, and return the breath to normal. Invitation to close the eyes or close them part way for this practice. Consciously relax your jaw and consciously relax your shoulders. So the jaw holds a lot of tension, and at night that can keep us awake. So one of the best anti-insomnia hacks is just massaging the jaw and relaxing the jaw. Very, very, very helpful. So wherever you are in your breath, exhale fully. Bring the awareness to the third eye point right in the middle of the forehead. And now as you inhale deeply from the belly, bring that awareness to that forehead point. And as you exhale, just letting go, feel all of the tension drain out of that area as the breath goes all the way out. Inhale deeply from the belly with awareness at the third eye point. And exhale, just letting go and let all the tension holding in the face muscles, the scalp, everything just dissolve with the breath. And return the breath to normal. Feeling how that feels. And wherever you are in your breath, exhale fully. Bring the awareness now to the throat. Consciously relax the jaw. Inhale deeply from the belly with awareness at the throat. And this time, as you exhale, drop the jaw and just sigh the air out as you let the tension in the jaw and throat dissipate. Inhale deeply from the belly, awareness at the throat. Exhale, drop the jaw, sigh it out, and let all the tension dissolve into nothing as the breath goes all the way out. And return the breath to normal. Feel how that feels, the relaxed jaw, the relaxed throat. Wherever you are in your breath, exhale fully. Bring the awareness now to the heart center, right in the middle of the ribs. Inhale deeply from the belly, awareness at the heart center. Exhale, letting everything go and feel all the tension dissolve. There can be a great sense of openness at the heart center. Breath goes all the way out. Inhale deeply from the belly, awareness at the heart center. Exhale, let everything go, let the breath go, let all the tension in that area dissolve into nothing as the breath goes all the way out. Return the breath to normal and feel how that feels. Wherever you are in your breath, exhale fully. Inhale robustly from the belly, opening the eyes, returning to the waking state, as they say. So that is the nighttime practice. Don't skimp on it. So this awareness of the body is what the dream yogis found through experience and extensive trial and error, sharing, tweaking, adjusting, improving over centuries, is what the yogis found was the most effective for becoming lucid in the dream. If you ask me, why would body awareness be the key to lucidity in the dream, I could go on and on and on and speculate lots of things and some science and some traditional practice, but let it just suffice for now, because the goal here is to get you up and running with your lucid dream practice, is it does. So you want to build that body and breath awareness. If you are doing that practice when you connect with your dream journal, feel it in the heart center, the motivation to write it in the morning, inhale from the belly, feel it at the heart center, and then let it go, let the breath go, put the dream journal down. If you take a few deep breaths like that and connect to that same center in the morning, if going through the day, practicing either this is a dream or, oh, there's a school bus, that's my dream sign, deep breath, awareness at the heart center, it connects all these things. And then at night, when you relax yourself, so if you want to do these sequentially, I do that one first, is do the 3-chakra scan like that with the breath and just get that awareness deep in your body. And then, if you're feeling it, go through the day and do the retrospective memory practice. Okay? And that is what brings awareness of the dream. Even if it doesn't bring lucidity right away, it will, like just a body awareness scan at night will increase the dream recall and the vividness of the dreams. It's a win-win. It'll improve sleep quality, of course. Again, back to Tenzin Wangyal's thing, even the dog takes care of itself a little bit. The human, I guess we brush our teeth, but too often it's like screen, screen, scroll, 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 mind, 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 mind. Oh, I'm exhausted. Boom, out. So if you're exhausted, fair enough, fair enough. Sit still for a couple of minutes. It's not a tiresome practice. Just become aware of your body. Okay? Last thing I'll teach here, and I'm going to wrap up, maybe even a few minutes early, is an enhanced version of this. And this is Tenzin Wangyal's Dream Yoga. I am not a lineage holder in any way. In this form, I am given permission to share as something that has been very valuable and effective for me. But this is Tenzin Wangyal's teaching. So you visualize, and this is advanced, you don't have to do this, but if you want to try it, you visualize the letter A. If English is not your native language, the first language you learned, the first letter of that alphabet, which odds are involves the sound ah. That's the important part. The important part is that the symbol that you are going to visualize is associated deeply by you with the sound ah. The Tibetan Dream Yogis use the Tibetan ah. That's the first letter of their alphabet, and it's actually called ah. So the important thing is the sound. So if you want to do it without the visualization, you can still add the sound for extra benefit. Okay? So the Dream Yogi holds the letter A, or the Tibetan ah, and the color is red. And don't ask me why, although I will note that people with synesthesia most often associate the first letter of their alphabet with the color red, statistically. So probably that has something to do with it. This is some deep brain stuff going on. These practices, may seem esoteric, but there is neurological basis for all of them, even though we have not discovered most of that. So red letter that is associated with the sound ah, held visualization at the throat, as you drop the jaw, ah. And you don't have to, you certainly don't vocal cords say ah. You can ah, like a sigh, but you don't even need to do that. You kind of imagine the sound ah emanating from the throat. And what this does is it relaxes the jaw and opens the throat automatically. Why is this good for sleep? Why is this good for dream? Well, what is going on with the modern human? Spoiler alert, most of us know this. We're talking to ourselves all the time. And when sleep is difficult and the person is tossing and turning at night, very often, if not always, there's chatter going on. And I'm miming the mind. I'm miming the mind. There's talking, worries of the next day, fretting and fuming about what happened in the past. As Buddha points out, doing everything but staying in the present. Thinking, talking. Well, guess what? You might think, you learn the brain is the central processing unit, and that's what's happening here. Managing the memories, managing the talk. But guess what? The talk is happening in the throat and jaw and tongue. Another great Chinese yogi pointed out that you can also put awareness at the tongue and get some of the same benefits. The point is, when this chatter, endless talking is going on, that's preventing sleep and certainly usually wiping out dream recall, making lucidity a distant, I was going to say distant dream, but is the constant talking involves the talking apparatus, the tongue, the lips, the mouth. If you, in those moments, when you're keeping yourself away with self-talk, bring the awareness to your throat, you'll realize, it's actually talking. It's actually talking. And there are two things you could try. You could try to be like, shut up, voices in my head, shut up, self-talk, stop talking. How effective is that going to be? How effective is it when you tell someone, relax? How effective is that? Stop talking. Any meditation teacher knows you don't tell people stop thinking. That's impossible. So that's a fool's errand. Instead, what you do is you do something different with the speaking apparatus. You do deep breath, awareness at the throat, the sound ah. It doesn't have to be said, it's felt. And for some reason, because of the way this machine works, you can't both talk and say ah at the same time. It's really ridiculously that simple. So this is a very skillful practice. You relax the body, and then you bring that awareness of the sound ah, which relaxes the throat, relaxes the jaw, opens the throat, and way dims down the internal self-talk. So I believe, that's not stated in Tenzin Wangyal's teaching, but I believe that's the fundamental reason why that works so well, and why it will improve sleep in general, why it will improve recall, it will improve the vividness of the dream, and as they prescribe in dream yoga, it will make lucid dreams much more likely. So that's the advanced practice. You don't need to do that. You could just do the 3 chakra scan, but make sure to pay a special attention to that throat, relaxing the jaw, letting the breath go all the way out. All right. So for folks who arrived a little late, I'm putting the PDF outline of this workshop in the chat. And I'm also putting a Google form here. It's a feedback form. It will take you about 2 to 3 minutes to engage with. Please do. I am building a nonprofit called the Psychedelic Yoga Research Collective, and we're trying to basically support psychedelic healing. And these workshops are all connected to that. Lucid dreaming is really important in the stuff we do. So it will help me with this project if you engage with that feedback form. So please take a few minutes to do that. And now I will open the floor to any questions or comments, anything you've got. Anything you've got. Please don't hesitate. I tell my physics class, if you have a question and you got that internal voice saying, "Oh, that's a stupid question," or "That's not a worthwhile question," it's a very important question, and not only that, but it's a question that a lot of other people have too. Questions? All right. Well, maybe I was so thorough. Am I checking the chat properly? Okay. All right, we'll all get an early bedtime tonight then. Um, well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. And if you have any questions that pop into your head later or after you've been practicing for a while, I will respond. Reach out through Meetup messaging, and I will respond. Reach out to my email is on the PDF. You can also reach out there, and I will respond. So that's a wrap. Have a good night, everyone.